Good evening and welcome to our Wednesday Creative Living series. It's really good to see you all tonight. So happy to see you, and it shows that we are showing up to life and the process of life, and everything will be unfolding. We know already unfolding perfectly for our own good. You don't have to come with all the answers to your challenges. You don't have to arrive perfectly put together. Just being here, it's enough. It shows that you are showing up. And that's all that the universe requires of us, to show up. Your presence carries more meaning than you know. Tonight is a space for honesty, for insight, for growth, where you can be present with yourself and with something greater. We are one with this power. We have this power greater than us that we are part of. So let's begin with this. You are not stuck. You are not stuck. I am not stuck. Affirm that to yourself. You are not stuck. You are not finished. You have the power to change the story. You have the power to change any story that you do not want. Not just the story others told about you, not just the one shaped by old pain or past experiences, but the story you are telling now, the one that gets shaped by what happens next. This is not about fixing yourself or pretending everything is fine. It's about remembering that there is a deeper truth alive in you, waiting to be heard. There's something about you that is wonderful. Sometimes we let go of the whole story, but the new one hasn't fully taken root. We do not like some things that we see in our lives. We'll let it go, we'll release it. But the new one that we want, we're expecting, hasn't fully taken root. And when we're in that place, that in-between space, it can feel confusing and empty sometimes. But from the perspective of this teaching, we want to know that that space is a holy ground, the place where you are no longer pretending and not yet performing. It's the space where truth is being born. The old is out. We are anxiously, we are positively expecting the good, because it's been released from the mind of God, it's done from the mind of God, spirit, but we haven't seen it in form. And sometimes you may not feel it fully yet. You may not even feel ready. But if the old story no longer fits and the new one isn't quite comfortable, you are right on time. That's the space where becoming happens. So what do we do in the becoming? What do we do when we're expecting this new thing? As students of this teaching, we don't rush through it. We want to honor that space. We give ourselves kindness and we give ourselves space to grow. We return to spiritual truth and we do not avoid it. We want to return to what Spirit says of us. What are those truths about you? But we want to also stay grounded while something good is unfolding, keeping our focus on the truth, on the growth, on the expansion, on good, on greater good. We gently want to repeat new affirmations, even if they don't feel true yet. You're expecting a new job. You've let go of the one that's not working for you. But the new one hasn't manifested. We keep affirming that that new job is done in the mind of spirit and is coming to us speedily. We spend time with people, with things, with words and ideas that support the story we are growing into. We want to pray affirmatively, not just for things to change, but for trust, clarity, and guidance along the way. And we let go of the pressure to see instant results. When we get anxious, we're anticipating anxiously. We let go of that anxiety for instant results. We practice patience, not passively, but with faith. The Spirit is already at work beneath the surface. It's all working out for your own good. We remind ourselves that we don't have to have it all together to be on the right path. This in-between space isn't a setback. It's a sacred ground. Remember, what you declare shall come to pass. So know that you are in the right place and something beautiful is already unfolding. That would be the affirmation I would hold on to. Life in its wisdom led you here. Right now, this moment is part of your beautiful unfolding. Everything, all things are working out for your own good. So before we can change our lives, we often want to change the lens through which we see them. What perspective? We want talking about changing our story. What perspective do you view life from? And that lens is shaped more than we realize by the stories we tell ourselves. We always talk about the internal dialogue. What stories do we speak? What stories do we tell ourselves? Stories about who we are, what's possible, what we deserve, and how the world works. What stories do you constantly tell yourself? Are they positive or negative stories? Are you reliving an old story? We live through our stories, not just the stories we read, but the ones we repeat. Something that happened years back, we still repeat those stories in our mind. And the one constant thing that will play out is that those stories will play out in our life as our experiences. You may not realize it, but every time you say something like, I'm not good with money, that's the story you're telling yourself. And anytime money comes to you, you will not be good with it because that's the story you tell yourself. I never follow through. This always happens to me. If that is your story, you tell yourself, we want to change that. You are not just describing yourself. What you are doing is that you are directing yourself with that story, that type of story. Every word you speak, whether out loud or in your thoughts, is like giving instructions. So when you say, I'm not good with money, you're giving instructions out to the universe to play this out in your life. You are guiding your mind, your energy, your actions, and even the universe when we say those things. Because the universe doesn't choose what's true for you, for me. It simply responds to what you say, to what you feel, to what you believe and repeat. The universe does not choose what's true for you. All it does is respond to what you believe, what you speak, the story you tell yourself, and repeat. Words aren't just words. They are seeds. The stories you tell yourself, they are seeds. They carry power. They shape perception. Again, the question would always be, what story are you telling yourself? When you say, I'm stuck, your mind will look for evidence of that. But when you say, I am growing, it starts searching for signs of progress. And that's why we say our thoughts are creative and the words that you speak are powerful. This is why it's important to pay attention to how you speak about your life. Your words become the script and the universe begins to act accordingly. In this teaching, we want to learn how to change the story, the words that we speak. You are the author and the actor. You are the narrator and you are the director. You are all that. You are not just living a story, you are shaping it. You are that powerful. So speak as the person you are becoming. Whatever it is that you want, that person that you want to be, start with the thoughts and speak it into being. You have the power to do that. Not the one you have outgrown. So you don't speak the things you do not want, the past, the old. You speak the tomorrow that you want into being today. You speak the exceedingly abundantly above into being. You don't speak from fear. You speak from the truth that it's forming. Even if things feel different or a little unsure, give it your voice. Let it find strength in your repetition. I am healed. I am whole. It doesn't feel like that. You still feel the pain, but keep repeating it. Keep saying it. Keep affirming it as many times as possible. We learn to speak from principle, not from past patterns. We speak from alignment, not from reaction. So anytime you're in reaction, every time you feel tensed, anxious, it will be best for us to calm down and quiet down and not to speak from that place. So instead of saying, I've always struggled with this, we begin to say, I am learning, I am growing, I am open to new experience. We want to learn how to reframe our words. Instead of saying, nothing ever works out for me, we say, good is unfolding, even if I can't see all the pieces yet. There's nothing like casual words or casual spoken words. Words are words. They are seeds. And instead of saying, I don't know what I'm doing, we affirm, I am guided by wisdom greater than my understanding. The words that we speak, the stories that we tell ourselves are powerful. We begin to speak with the tone of the life we are creating. Peace has a sound. Wholeness has a sound. Power has a sound. Speak from that place with that tone. So we practice speaking from the place we are walking toward. You want to speak the tomorrow that you want into being with your words. We want to practice speaking from the place we are walking toward. Where are you headed? What is that goal? Speak from that place until our words and our world begin to match. Until the words that you speak and the tomorrow you're expecting, that expansion, until they match. You have to keep speaking. And every time we do, we take another step into the truth that we really are. Remember, there was a lesson we had, we talked about the fruits of who you are. Whole, complete, lacking nothing, expansive. Sometimes the story we hold on to is wrapped in what sounds like humility. I don't want to ask for too much. Who am I to think I could do that? But real humility doesn't shrink you. It honors your source. Sometimes we call it false spirituality, false humility. We want to shrink ourselves because we want to appear humble. That's not what the divine wants for us. If your story makes you smaller, it's nothing spiritual. It's not spiritual. It's fear dressed up as modesty. A story that silences your gift is not humility. It's self-denial. A story that tells you to dim your light doesn't honor others. It withholds the blessings of your presence. And when the world asks you to turn down your glow so you don't offend the shadows, you don't offend others, that's not the truth. That's an illusion wearing a costume of grace. We're not about false humility. We want to be who the Spirit wants us to be at all times. You are never meant to disappear in the name of kindness because you care so much about how others will feel about you. You put yourself down because you want to appear humble, kind, overextend yourself. That's not what we're talking about here. Your light is not a threat. It's a guidepost. Letting yourself shine doesn't diminish others. Like we say, the universe is so much that everybody can afford to be expansive, thrive, and enjoy life. And there'll be so much more for everybody. So the universe is constantly inviting us to rise. Arise, shine, for your light has come. True humility says, the light is the divine in me, and I let it shine freely. Let your words reflect where you are headed, not just where you have been. What do you constantly speak to yourself? And we want to speak with the energy of life, unfolding, of love, taking truth, root, and of possibility already on its way. Again, because the universe is always listening and it doesn't respond to wishful thinking. Oh, yeah, I wish this would happen. No, the universe responds to your thoughts and your actions and the words that you speak. It responds to the vibration of your words, the intention behind them, and the truth you're there to claim. We also know through our classes that the world responds to us not as it is, but as we are. So whatever you are, that's what you get in return. If your posture is positive, is great, that's how the universe will respond to you. What you habitually affirm becomes the blueprint of what unfolds in your life. So if you want something new to emerge, you want to begin by changing the inner script. You want to begin by changing that story. And here is the truth. Stories are powerful, not because they are always true. You know why they are powerful? Because we believe them. So if we believe a false story, it begins to manifest in our life. A story doesn't have to be accurate to be effective. A story doesn't have to be true to be effective. It only has to be believed. If you believe a false story, it shows forth in your life, in my life. That's the power of belief. The moment you believe a story about who you are, but so many people have said that I am this. And because so many people have said that to you, you begin to believe that. And that's what will manifest. The moment you believe a story about who you are, what you are capable of, or what is possible, what it does is that it begins to shape the way you think, feel, and act. Well, they said, I can never be good with this. Because so many people have said it, we begin to believe that to be true for us. And the simple thing is that that will begin to manifest in our lives. It becomes the lens, your filter, and your compass because you believed it. And soon your life will begin to mirror that belief. You might believe a story that says, I always mess things up, or I'm not smart enough. Your other sibling is smarter, or you're not good enough. You're very disorganized. Or things like people like me never succeed. They've said that so many times at home, at work, that you begin to believe that. And even if those words aren't true, if you believe them, they become your reality. And that's why we always practice our thoughts. Whenever we perceive these thoughts that are not who we are, whichever way that works well for you, speak it out. I cancel those thoughts. Even when people say things that are not true for you, you reject them. You do not allow those seeds to be sown into your consciousness. You will start to doubt yourself if you begin to believe that. You might get in your way without even realizing it. Because you're believing, you've allowed that seed to grow in you. Not because anything outside you is stopping you, but because an old, untrue story is still playing in your mind. Those words are playing in your mind and taking root. That's how belief works. It creates the atmosphere in which you live. It's like the soil in which your thoughts grow. So what do you believe about yourself? Do you believe that you can get out of that situation? Because when you believe, you begin to act in that direction. If the soil is poisoned with limiting beliefs, then even the best intentions will struggle to bloom. However, when you nourish your inner life with empowering beliefs, stories of possibility, stories of I can do, strength, and truth, you begin to rewrite what is possible for you. Remember, we talked about being authors, narrator of our life. You stop living from old limitations and start creating from your highest vision. This lesson is to tell you that you are powerful and you can change your story. Whatever that has been showing forth, manifesting in your life today can stop. You have the power to stop that. Your inner world becomes a garden where faith grows and new realities take root. Because what you feed your mind and spirit doesn't shape how you feel. It shapes what shows up in your life. Belief is how the unseen starts to show up in your life. It's how spirit becomes experience. This is why we say change your thinking and you change your life. Because when you change what you believe, you change what you invite. Change what you believe and you change what you invite into your life. You change what you expect. If you believe in good and greater good, your thinking will change. Your expectation will change. And somewhere in the scripture, it says that the earnest expectation of a truth student shall not be cut off. And because the universe responds to your dominant beliefs, you change what shows up. So it's a little arithmetic. If you want to change what's showing up in your life, change your dominant belief. I believe I'm capable. I believe my tomorrow will be better than today. I believe I'm getting out of this situation. I believe I have a perfect job for me. Affirm that and work towards it. So ask yourself, what stories am I believing? Are they rooted in love or in fear? In truth or trauma? In limitation or divine possibility? Which one? Not every story you tell yourself started with you. Some were passed down through family, culture, religion, or past experiences. They were created to help you make sense of life, to protect you, or simply to survive. But just because a story once served you doesn't mean it still belongs. 5 years ago, this was a perfect story for you. But now, it no longer fits. You've overgrown that. You are allowed to question any story. You are allowed to ask questions. Does this still serve who I am becoming? Does that story of yesterday, does it fit into who you are becoming? Does it fit into your journey? Does it fit into your current goal? Some stories aren't really yours. They are echoes. You didn't write them, but they still speak. And now with awareness, you get to choose which ones stay and which ones stop with you. The good news is this: any story can be rewritten. You are not bound to the beliefs you inherited or absorbed. Oh, nobody in my family ever lives beyond 60 or 70. That's the strength. We are wired to all have this illness or disease. My father had it, my mother had it. So, in conclusion, I'm bound to have it. And that's the story. That's the belief. And what happens is that we begin to attract those things without even knowing it. But when we remember our oneness with this power, right here, right now, that we know that all the power is present, everything is possible. You have the power to choose again. You can plant new beliefs. And when you do, you are not just changing your mind, you are changing your life. Because what you believe doesn't just sit quietly in your mind. It speaks into your future. It builds the bridge to your next experience. It speaks into your future. It builds the bridge to your next experience, and it becomes the magnet that draws your reality. And that's why your healing often begins not by doing more, but by believing differently. It starts with believing differently, that healing is possible, that it's possible. But what if the most important transformation of your life doesn't begin by changing your circumstances, but by changing the story that you tell yourself? That's why it matters what you say about yourself, out loud and in your thoughts. Again, what's your internal dialogue? What do you say to yourself? Your words aren't just reflections of what is, they are instructions of what can be. Your words are directions you are giving to the universe. Please kindly do this. They don't just describe your life, they direct your life. Remember, all the universe does is respond to you, to your dominant thoughts and dominant beliefs. Let's take a closer look at how this really works. If your healing, growth, and transformation begin with a shift in belief, not just action, then the story you've been telling yourself plays a powerful role in shaping your life. This brings us to a key insight. Your story isn't set in stone. That story that lived for decades is not set, it's not permanent. In truth, your word is law unto your life. The story you tell becomes the lens through which you see, interpret, and create reality. According to Ernest Holmes, change your thinking and you change your life. The story you hold in consciousness becomes the experience you live out. So if again we want to change the experience we see, we change our story. Here's another powerful truth that can change the way you see life. You are the author now. Maybe someone has been writing the script for you. Your culture, your parents, family, environment. But now you're taking over. You write it and you live it out and you act it out. You may not have had control over how your story began. You didn't choose everything that happened to you. You didn't write the pain, the mistakes, or the things that were done to you. But you are holding the pen now. You are holding the pen now. Some people, when they were born in pain and they were given names in pain. And that manifested all through their life. But now you have the pen. You can write the story that you want. That means you get to decide what happens next. You get to choose the words you speak, the meaning you give your past, and the direction your life takes from here. Right now, you have the pen and you have a plain sheet to write and direct your life. Maybe the old story sounded like I was abandoned. I was born in pain. I always mess things up. I can't trust anyone. That's been the story. However, just because that was once true doesn't mean it has to remain true. I've tried several relationships and been in several, and it all ended the same way. We fed that story enough. We want to write a different script right now. However, just because that was once true doesn't mean it has to remain true. That's not a lie. It happened so many times. That's the truth. That's the fact. But we can rewrite what we see. Spirit has a way of offering you a new page, a new truth to live from. But here is the good news. You don't have to keep telling the same old story. There is something greater within you, and that's spirit. And you learn how to quiet yourself and go in and pull on that power that's within that you are one with, and you can use. That spirit is always calling you to a better version of your life. It gently offers you a new story to live by, one that sounds more like, I am not alone. I am supported by a power greater than me. I have what it takes. I am creative, I'm strong, and full of potential. I may not have all the answers, but I trust the wisdom inside me to guide me step by step. And you know what? Science backs this up. Your brain is shaped by the stories you repeatedly tell yourself. Every time you think a thought or tell yourself something, especially over and over, your brain builds pathways around it. So if you want to be moody, keep telling yourself sad things. Your brain will wire that and will show forth in your life. So if you keep saying things like, I'm not good enough, your brain starts to treat that like a fact. But if you start saying, I am growing, I am capable, your brain begins to build new pathways for confidence, for peace and strength. In simple terms, the more you tell a better story, the more your life begins to reflect it. Again, what story are you telling yourself? Science refers to this as neuroplasticity. You know about this. The brain's ability to rewire itself based on what you think, feel, and practice. Again, what are you telling yourself? Keep saying, I'm happy, I'm capable. Your brain will rewire itself to manifest that. It's a beautiful truth. Your mind was made to heal. New thoughts don't just make you feel better. They help reshape your life. So we have control over our lives. Nobody can control our lives. It only happens if we allow it, when we allow that. You are not just changing your thoughts, you are changing your brain, your energy, and your future. There's a story called The Two Letters about a man who, after his father passed away, found two sealed envelopes hidden in the back of an old drawer. One labeled, "For the day you feel lost," the other, "For the day you remember who you are." Years after walking through a painful season of setbacks, losing his job, his marriage falling apart, and struggling to find his footing, he finally opened his letter. Inside were these words from his father: "Son, life may hand new chapters you didn't choose. There will be pages stained with pain, loss, or regret. But this isn't the whole book. It's just a chapter. Keep going. Don't let this be your final word." He cried, but something shifted. The next morning, he made one small change. Then another change. He began to show up differently, not just to the world, but to himself. He changed the story that he speaks to himself. Years later, on a brighter day, he opened the second envelope. It simply said, "I knew you would remember. Now keep writing. You are the author now. Keep writing the story of your life. Don't give up. Whatever you are going through is just a chapter." The story speaks straight to the heart of our truth. You may not have written the first chapters of your life, but you are holding the pen now. Keep writing. That incident, that bad experience, it was just a chapter. Turn over the sheet and keep writing the one that you want to show, manifest. You are not bound by what has been. The pain may have been real, true. The past may have shaped you, but it doesn't define who you are. You can begin again. You can write again. And this time, you do it with awareness, with truth, and with power. Each new belief, each new choice is like ink on the page. Remember, you are not a fixed story. You are a living one. You are not a book on a shelf. You are a manuscript still unfolding. You are unfolding. You are moving from good to greater good. And every choice you make in love, every belief you update becomes a new ink on the page. You don't need to rewrite your whole life in one day. Just write one honest sentence, one truthful belief, one page at a time. And here is a deeper truth. Principle is not subject to precedent. Just because it's been a certain way doesn't mean it has to be that way. Precedent is not subject to your history. Principle, rather. Principle is not subject to precedent, to what has happened before. Spiritual laws doesn't consult your history to decide your destiny. Spiritual laws does not consult your history, the past, to decide what will happen to you. You decide. You have the pen now. The infinite doesn't need your past to permit your future. Like the man in the story, the moment you remember who you really are, the moment you choose to believe something higher, something greater, you shift the entire course of your story. So tonight, let this be your moment. Not just a moment of understanding, but a moment of authoring, a moment of writing your story. You are not here by accident. You are not here to stay stuck in the old storyline. There's something greater calling you forward. You can do much more. Even if you're already doing good, there is a next level. And one of the most sacred tools you've been given to answer that call is your imagination. Imagination is not daydreaming. It's how your soul starts to shape what's next. It lets you preview your possibilities before they become reality. So you stay and you begin to see that tomorrow. You see that expansion. You see that next level. And when you see it, you begin to walk towards it. It's the first whisper of life that's waiting for you. It's like the spiritual paintbrush that brings vision to form, your imagination. When you imagine something, if you can put it down, put it down. If you can sketch it, sketch it. That's a wonderful tool. If you can imagine yourself free, whole, aligned, you've already begun the shift. Because your imagination is not fantasy, it's creative prayer. So don't take your imaginations for granted. You are here because something in you knows it's time to stop rehearsing what hurt you. Whatever that situation is, it's time to stop rehearsing it. Sometimes we don't even know when we do this. Sometimes when we're quiet, those stories begin to play through our mind. How this happened, how you said this, and this one happened. And we begin to play all those stories, negative stories back again. Well, we want to remember that we can always stop that and change the direction. It's time to stop repeating what has held you back. Oh, I should have been miles ahead. I should have been at this level. We don't want to continue playing that. It's time to stop living as though your past has the final say. It does not. It doesn't. You are the pen. You have the pen. You are the narrator. You are the divine instrument through which the infinite writes something new. Sometimes the old story will linger us because we haven't yet forgiven ourselves. someone else, or even life itself. We're still holding on to that. And all it does is weigh us down. We can't even move with that weight of unforgiveness. We can't focus with the weight of unforgiveness. We can't see clearly. So forgiveness isn't just about the past. It's about making room in your story for something new. Because when we forgive, we remove that. We become lighter. Without it, you are just remembering the pain. You are just again rehearsing it. Think of forgiveness like clearing out a cluttered room. You are not pretending the mess was never there. You are simply making space. When you forgive, you're making space for something new. Letting go creates room for peace, for clarity, for a new life-giving thoughts to take root. Because as long as old thoughts fill the space, there's no room for the new story to grow. So forgiveness is not just for the person, it's very important for us also. Forgiveness says the story is real, but it no longer has authority here. I am not erasing it, I am releasing it. Forgiveness says the story is real. We know it's real, but it no longer has authority here in my life. I am not erasing it, I am releasing it. That's the space where new stories are born. When we release all that unforgiveness, then we have space for the new stories. That's where spirit meets you, not to edit the old story, but to write something entirely new through you. A story of freedom, a story of peace, a story of alignment, abundance, of truth, of wholeness, of everything that is good, right, pure, holy. You don't need all the answers to begin. You only need the willingness to say, I am ready to see differently. I am ready to believe something higher. I am ready to write again. All you need is the willingness. Willingness to start again. Because your next chapter isn't waiting somewhere out there. It begins here. The next chapter of your story. Write one new thought. One new belief. One bold choice to turn the page and begin. Just like I'm turning this page, turn over the next page and start a new chapter. And the moment you do, something shifts, not just in your thinking, but in your becoming. And as you change your story, your thinking, you begin to attract things that support your new story. You just find out that the attractions from the old story ceases. You begin to attract things that will support your current story that you are writing. The story changes because the storyteller has awakened to life, to the process of life. And so it is.